Did you record?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Yo,
We're still
that was
here.
awesome. We're still here.
We still have a
not gone.
podcast, everyone. Just in case you might have forgot.
That's how we start the podcast, just like that. It's been a couple months. It's been a couple weeks, actually, not months.
Yeah, just a couple weeks.
Yeah, well, welcome to the Targeted Podcast. I am Sahid, that is Nicholas. What up? How you been, man? How's life treating you?
Yeah, life has been tough. Man. These 3 kids are a lot. You know, it's like after two, we were good. We were in a good place, and then little man is throwing everything off, man. The kid, like right now, both the girls are taking a nap. And guess who doesn't care?
The boy?
Yeah, he does not care. Does not care.
That's hilarious. Well, that's rough.
Yeah. Work hasn't been too much fun either. So I'm glad to take a break.
Yeah.
Just happy to take a break.
My parents were. So we were going to do the podcast last week, and my parents were in town, and that Wednesday, so I started feeling like a sore throat that Tuesday,
COVID.
and I was like, "Fuck!" Right? Not COVID. Don't start. My parents had a cancer trip earlier this year because of COVID, but yeah, I started getting sick. Then I was I wanted to just recover, just make sure I'm rested up or whatever. And I was rested up and started feeling better. And then last tail end of it, I was like, man, I am tired.
Mm-hmm.
Or I started getting sick again. So whatever, I'm recovered now, so it's good. What up, BK? Thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. Cool.
Yes, sir.
Let's go ahead and get into it, man. This is gonna be a long, random podcast. It's kind of like how 2022 was this year.
You kind of need that sometimes, man.
Yeah.
You need that.
2022 was long and random. The last couple years has been long and random. Just going through some stuff. But before we begin, Nicholas, I think you said you had some stuff you wanted to discuss right quick.
Yeah, man. A couple of things I wanted to plug real quick. I like a good positive story, man. A lot of times on this podcast we talk about, like racism and horrible things happening around the world, but my wife found a couple of positive stories that she wanted to make sure that I shared with the audience, right? And it's interesting because both of these stories actually come from my alma maters, right? So one comes from Hampton, and one comes from VCU, which is where I went to grad school, right? So we'll start off with the one from VCU. So my wife used to run track, so this kid actually also runs track, and his name is Jaden Mitchell, and he is he's kind of making waves as a sneaker customizer, right? He's doing a lot of art, customization on sneakers. He kind of just started it at school, kind of doing stuff for himself, and then word kind of got out, and word kind of got out for him, and he started making waves at school. People started making requests of him to do more stuff, and then he takes it to he goes online with social media, and lo and behold, he starts getting requests from celebrities, athletes, et cetera. So he's out here doing his thing, man. So shout out to Jaden Mitchell, man. I hope you keep it going, bro. We're following you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Then on the other side, Hampton University, there's a Hampton graduate by the name of Brooke Jones. I meant to bring the doll down here, but essentially what she has done is create a line of dolls inspired by historically black colleges and universities, right? And having 2 daughters myself, who are obviously black, and being a product of an HBCU, we definitely had to go out and get a couple of these dolls. One, just for the representation. I mean, when the girls are playing with different dolls, I mean, yeah, they're gonna have the Barbies and all of that stuff, but to get a true sense of representation, we want to get them dolls that look like them, have the same hair texture, all that type of stuff. And that's what she's been able to do here. She's created these dolls. Um, they represent like the different HBCUs. What's funny is that, and then this is how you know the Hampton Howard rivalry runs pretty deep. There is no Howard doll. There is no Howard doll. So there's only a doll for the real HU, this Hampton University. And, for your Howard people out there, if you do want one of these dolls, you can just get one of the generic I went to an HBCU dolls to support her efforts or whatever. But no, the dolls are pretty dope, man. They're pretty high quality. So we're happy that we were able to get the girls a Hampton University doll a piece. So
Nice.
that's my two plugs, man. So Brooke Jones and what was the other guy? Jaden Mitchell. Go out, do a search for them on your social media. Definitely follow them. Try to support them if you can. And yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be something that I'm going to continue doing. You know what I mean? If I ever find out about anything like this, I'm definitely going to go out there and plug it using our platform. So
much appreciated. Yeah. No, representation is important, man. So I saw like my niece during Thanksgiving, and she used to like, Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel, like all the time. She's like, oh, I like Miss Marvel, it's a superhero. Now her favorite superhero is Shuri from Black Panther. And that's super important, and that's just weird because my work phone assumed I was saying Shuri and not Suri, and it activated. Just awkward.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's just weird. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Let's get started. We already started. I wanted to go through like a quick run through of like everything that's. I won't say everything that's happened this year, but mostly of the things that's happened this year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take a little small break for breaks, whatever. But definitely feel free to like, comment, subscribe on all our channels: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. And definitely interested to know what you guys think. So let's start in January. So January kind of started hitting hard because some famous people died. Sidney Poitier passed away. One of the first black men to win the Oscar. Bob Saget passed away tragically. So I remember that one. That was one that was in passed away in Florida. Canadian truckers posted a lot to Canadian truckers protested the COVID mandate and whatnot. I'm going to try to adjust my mic a little bit. How do I sound? Good? Better?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. Joe Rogan podcast got in trouble for COVID misinformation that happened in January as well. February, Winter Olympics in China. Totally forgot about that. I was writing this up.
Let's be honest. I mean, does anybody like pay attention to the Winter Olympics?
I don't. Apparently not.
I don't think so.
Like,
aside from Shaun White, that's why I like it.
Yeah, and this was Shaun White's last Olympics. I totally forgot about it. I was like, shit, that was this year. Okay, fuck. Yeah. Brittany Griner was arrested February 17th. And she was let go. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. Because, as you know, she was let go. But February 17th, she was arrested in Russia. And then a week later, February 24th, Russian invasion started. Right? March, U.S. and EU start banning Russian oil. Global COVID deaths hit 6 million. That's funny. COVID deaths passed 6 million this year. Leah Thomas wins collegiate swimming trophy. We talked about that.
Yeah.
This year. Really controversial. Will Smith slaps the shit out of Chris Rock at the Oscars in March.
Wow.
I remember that because we just did a podcast, and then we literally talked about we're gonna watch the Oscars. And we were like, nah, nothing usually happens. And then, like literally like 10 minutes after,
Lo and behold,
full blows up. It's like Will Smith slaps Chris Rock. So yeah, that happened. Amazon Union formed in April. So the first Amazon Union in the country in New York in April. Global food crisis at the highest levels because of the war. This happened in April. Gunmen opened fire in New York. There was a massive hunt there, so more gun violence there. That's April. May. So Politico uncovers a draft suggesting Roe v. Wade will be overturned. So that's when we first heard that it's going to possibly overturn. Right?
Sad day.
Yeah. So yeah, it didn't overturn yet, but that's when we just know what was going to happen. Palestine journalist Shireen Abdul Al-Hik was shot and killed during an alleged targeted attack in Israel and Palestine. So that happened. Also, 10 black people were killed in Buffalo, New York in a racially motivated attack. Remember that one where a white kid drives 2 hours to New York to shoot black people? That happened. Also, what happened in May, gunman kills 19 students and teachers in Uvalde, Texas.
That's right. That's right. See, this is exactly why we started off the podcast with a positive stories. Sheesh.
Yeah. June. Johnny Depp verdict. Trial happened. So went in his favor. Earthquake happens in Pakistan. Right. That's in June. And end of June, the Supreme Court finally kills Roe v. Wade. So that happens, and yeah, that has a kind of cascading effects later on. July, Boris Johnson resigned. So I kind of want to stop for a second. Boris Johnson, he was a former prime minister of the UK. He was responsible for like guiding the UK out of like the EU deal, and he resigned because he started having COVID parties. Well, he was instituting COVID lockdowns, but he broke those lockdowns a number of times. And then he started. He had some weird like some people that he hired, right? And a lot of his cabinet just started resigning, and he eventually was forced to resign. A lot of people was like, "Look, you don't want to go out like that, do you? Like, we're kick you out, force screaming." So he resigns, and this kind of kicks off a very hilarious of things that happens because he resigns, and then Liz Truss becomes like prime minister. But we'll talk about that later. But that's July. Boris resigns. Liz Truss becomes prime minister. Shinzo Abe, the former prime minister of Japan, was killed. Remember that one where the man creates
right. I remember that.
Yeah, it's crazy. First episode of the James Webb Telescope. It's a little bit of good news there. So I've been watching that. It's been really, really cool. Also, NASA tested. I think this was in June, maybe August. NASA tests the DART spacecraft, so it's the ability to guide away asteroids, yeah, and comets or meteors from us, right? Which is a pretty cool thing. All right, actually, so it's my fault. Yeah, so Liz Truss becomes so that was July. August, Brittany Griner is sentenced to 9 years, and Joe Biden announces a student loan forgiveness plan, right? September, this is actually when Liz Truss becomes prime minister in the UK. Remember that because I'm gonna update that in maybe in 45 seconds. Wink, wink. So no, Queen Elizabeth passes away. Prince Charles becomes King Charles, right? Mahsa Amani's death causes protests in Iran. So this is when the morality police killed her for not having her hijab on too tight enough, and there's been protests ever since then, right? Iran eventually got rid of their police, I think in November or December, but I don't have that written down here. hurricane hits Puerto Rico. This happened in September. Anand Syed case is overturned. So if you don't know about this guy, he was famous on the Serial podcast. He was convicted at the age of like 21 for killing his girlfriend, and the prosecutors didn't have enough faith in that conviction, so they had it overturned. News recently is that he just started working at Georgetown too, so that happened. Also, in September, kicking it off, Kanye West wears his White Lives Matter shirt, and yes, okay. Beginning October, remember that Liz Truss thing I was talking about? Yeah, she resigned. 45 days later, she resigned. I remember they did like a joke about this where they had like a thing of cabbage, and they said, "Will this thing of cabbage outlast Liz Truss's
That's hilarious.
prime ministership?" And it did. So her prime minister like tenure was shorter than cabbage going bad, which is crazy. Rishi Sunak becomes the new PM. He's the first Indian prime minister. Elon Musk completes his buying of Twitter because that
Dude,
that went well.
I don't know if this is true or not because you get random stuff in your Google like News River. I heard this cat lost like $200 billion this year.
I heard about that today too.
Plus, like,
he's the first person to have ever lost $200 billion worth of net worth. Yeah,
good grief.
Yeah.
And but he's still like what, the third richest person in the world or something?
Yeah, he's still up there. He's still
Good God.
He might be second or third. But like his net worth was super inflated.
No,
But yeah, that guy's a total douche. But yeah, he bought Twitter end of October, and he let Kanye back, put Trump back, and yeah, just went stupid after that. Okay, November, Migos rapper Takeoff was killed in Houston.
I think that guy's just now getting sentenced, or
I think they just caught him recently. The person responsible for that. The midterm elections happened. The red wave did not happen. So Democrats probably did the best they've ever done in like 50, 60 years for like an incumbent president. And this is a huge rebuke of Trump. And I'm sure the Roe v. Wade had something to do with that as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, after the red wave didn't happen, Trump announced that he'll run for president again because, of course, he did. And global population reaches 8 billion.
Good Lord.
8 billion people. Also, World Cup in Qatar starts in November. So yeah,
love watching the World Cup. Did you have Argentina winning? Did you think Argentina was winning?
I did not. I was actually rooting for France to win. So
I was not. I said no colonizer countries.
That's funny you say about Argentina though, because they have a lot of German immigrants, and there's a whole history of like why they're so white. I went for France because even though they're a colonizer country, they pretty much got all the people black. Like their whole team's black.
Yeah,
so like, what African countries are we gonna get?
You can get into why that would be later, right?
Yeah. So World Cup happens. Congrats to. By the way, the final game was amazing.
Yes.
So I wasn't even mad that Argentina won. Like the final game was amazing.
The final games, and what was around before that? The semifinal games.
Semifinals. So Morocco became the first team to reach the semifinals. They lost to France, but they beat Portugal,
which was amazing. I was like, I could not believe that.
Yes.
Beat Portugal.
Yes. Also, what's so funny is that Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia in the World Cup, and like the Prince of Saudi Arabia, like they only won one game, but that one game, all the players are gonna get Rolls Royce. I think. Was it Rolls Royce? They're gonna get like a really expensive car. Like the Prince of Saudi Arabia is gonna buy that whole team a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Each single one. Tell me you have too much money without telling me you have too much money. So
Oil money, man. Oil
I know,
money.
right? All right, December. Deion Sanders leaves JSU for Colorado.
Quick update on that though.
Yeah.
Even though everyone's upset about he left, I think he started something because you saw. I don't know if you saw the headline. Ed Reed is going to coach at an HBCU now, and I think there's a couple other cats going to take positions. So I
That's
mean,
good.
hate him as much as you want. He did what he set out to do, and
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a trend of higher quality coaching and thus higher quality players at those schools now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is recruitment, right? And I think with NIL, and a lot of these guys, these star power, HBCUs will start to getting more
Yeah.
or getting better recruitments, right?
Yeah.
So that's super important, and definitely happy to kind of see that happen. What else? All right, so Deion Sanders leaves JSU. Kanye West praises Hitler on his on Alex Jones's
You
Infowars
can just go
podcast.
ahead. I was at a comedy show last night, right? Shout out to Cedric the Entertainer, DL Hughley, and all those guys.
Oh, he was? Where was this?
Cedric the Entertainer was at was the Eagle Bank Arena.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's Fairfax. Okay, cool.
But I forgot who said it. One of the guys said it. He was talking about Black Thanksgiving, right? How Black people are at Thanksgiving or whatever. He's like, Kanye is like that little cousin, that little nephew that just does too much, and you got to be like, yo, man, it's time for a nap. You're tired. It's time. It's nap time.
Kanye, go to bed.
Go to bed.
Go to bed now. Go to your room.
No dessert. No dessert. No juice.
Yeah. I forgot to mention earlier too, like his divorce was finally finalized with Kim Kardashian, and I think he has to pay like $200,000 a month in child support or something like that.
Can we talk about that real quick? Let's talk about this real quick, man.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and take a break with Kanye. Also, how did Alex Jones still have a show? He also was like he was like 1 point, like the judge like announced like this year. I forgot to mention this in the rundown. $1.2 billion or $6 billion to like the Parkland, not Parkland, Sandy Hook survivors of those parents, because he accused that of it being fake, right? Of the shooting of being fake.
Oh my God.
Like a lot of those parents, those families got harassed because of that, right?
This is why Kanye needs to take a nap for going on that show.
This is why cancel culture used to be a thing, because if you don't fucking disrespect Alex Jones will say his shit, right? People are gonna believe it because they're gullible, right? And they're gonna start harassing freaking like victims of a freaking school shooting because some dickhead said it's fake. But
well, there's cancel culture, and then there's people who just need to be shut up. Right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a difference. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think there's a difference. We can have another episode on cancel culture.
Yeah. But let's go to Kanye having to pay $200,000 a month. Okay, I have 3 children, and I just think that is a ridiculous amount of money, bro. Like I pay nowhere near that amount of money to take care of my kids, right? My biggest complaint is probably childcare at this point, and we're close to like $3,000 a month, probably, right? The kids, they don't. I mean, they eat, but they're not eating like that. I mean, let's talk about groceries, right? That I'm buying for the kids. I mean, I'll be generous and say $500 a month for the kids, right? So 500 times 12, that's 6,000 plus the 3,000 a month. So that's 36,000. So we're at $42,000 a year at this point. Help me understand. You know what I'm saying? And then people will be like, oh, I maintain the lifestyle. Kim ain't broke. And she damn sure wasn't relying on Kanye for money. That's what gets me. I mean, like, Do they
Well,
all
I
need?
mean, I don't know, but maybe he's not capable of taking care of his. Like, who am I to freaking say like
I don't
what it
know.
is? Because there's
I'm
a
just
lot of people who get divorced and like they don't have to pay like a child support or anything like that. So it's very
when I hear
it's
these
very
ridiculous
inconsistent.
amounts, though, man. Like there was a
I mean, his kids are in LA too, right? So
and
cost of living,
gives a shit.
cost of living, man.
DC is expensive as hell too. Okay, but I
Yeah,
mean,
but you
there's
don't
a.
live in DC.
I hate
You
this.
live out
I
in the
live
six.
close enough. I live close enough.
You live
Anyway,
like 2 hours
I
away.
live close enough. I'm not 2 hours away. But there's. I
You're like
hate the
an
show.
hour and a half.
But there's. But the wife watches like Love and Hip Hop. I don't know, East, West, South, New York, whatever. But there's a case where I think the guy's name is Safari or something like that. He was married to some video chick named Erica Mina or something like that. And they get divorced and she like loses her shit because I think he had to pay, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 grand a month or something. But I'm thinking to myself, like, it's for the kids, right? Like 4 or 5 grand a month takes care of the kids actually. That's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get it, man. I just don't understand when I hear these ridiculous amounts of money that people are supposed to pay. And it's usually the father, right? I feel like it's some sort of punishment for the father. But I just something I never understood, man.
Well, I'm not. You will hear the smallest violin from me for Kanye West having to pay any type of money. Like,
I
you know
mean,
what?
you don't
Fucking
care about Kanye as a person, but I'm just talking about like from the standpoint of just like a father or something like that. It's like
yeah.
when we talk about child support, to me, that's just a ridiculous amount of money. It's just like you should be putting that shit make him pay it for make him put it to charity. You know what I mean?
You should
Like
be careful who you impregnate, and don't get divorced.
obviously,
Yeah.
like my man Nick Cannon, who's welcoming his 12th child.
Oh yeah, we even talked about that. Yeah, Nick Cannon, 12,
12.
and I.
He's talking about, oh, it's getting difficult to make time for everyone. No shit.
Whose fault is that?
You're creating your own village.
Like these guys, him and like Elon Musk. So they do this. Like they go and they impregnate all these women. Elon Musk he impregnates women that work for him, which is really I'm surprised you saw him talk about that. I was gonna make an episode on why Elon Musk sucks. I don't think I have to anymore because I think the world's kind of finally realizing this. But I don't know. We might have to do that eventually. But no, but he like these guys they go and they impregnate all these women and they're like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm solving like the declining birth rates or like the human population crisis. And I'm like, no, you're just getting your dick wet, dude. That's all you're doing. Like you're not actually trying to solve these kind of things, right? These women aren't freaking, I don't know. Like Elon Musk was like, oh yeah, you should be able to like you should have kids for as many as you can financially support. And I'm like, but there's more. It's more about financial. It's not about financial support, right? It's about being also a father to him as well.
Yes.
I would assume,
Yes.
right? It's just about paying for like their school and shit. And I don't know how you could do that with 12 or as many of these.
Yeah,
Kids
but
they have.
here's my thing though. If you hear this man saying this, why are these women still sleeping with him?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
It still takes two.
Right.
So I mean, as much as idiots these guys are, I mean, you know who he is. You know what he's about, right?
Yeah.
So why are you still giving it up? Maybe they want their $200,000 a month too.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, in Elon Musk's case, the guy's richest guy in the world, like those kids, like I think one of his Starlink employees was pregnant with this kid, and she like wanted to have her name, like their names changed to Musk because of the prestige that comes with that, right? So yeah, there's that as well. It's just it's unfortunate, but yeah. Yeah, we're still in December. We're almost done. Kanye Princess Hitler.
Go to bed,
Brittany
Kanye.
Griner. Huh? Go ahead.
Sorry, I said go to
Yeah.
bed, Kanye. Go ahead.
Yeah, go to bed, Kanye. Brittany Griner is released from prison in a prisoner swap for like the Merchant of Death. I want to talk about this really quickly because we were going to have an episode about this earlier, and we just didn't have the chance to. But a lot of people were talking about how like this was an unfair trade, and yes, of course it was unfair trade if you understand what's going on in Russia, right? Russia's at war with Ukraine, and they are getting their asses beat right now, right? It's
Yeah.
estimates have said they've lost 100,000 soldiers have been killed in Russia. Just kind of put in context, I think things on the top of my head, so don't quote me. I think in 20 years of war in Iraq and Afghanistan, the United States has lost 5,000 soldiers, right? And they've lost 100,000 in 10 months, 11 months, right?
Whoa,
And the two reasons,
what country? Russia? You said Russia lost 100,000?
Russia lost 100,000 soldiers.
God, dog.
100,000. These are estimates. They don't release these numbers because, and Russia tends to lie about this a lot because it's Russia. But yeah, they've lost like 100,000. Two reasons for this: Ukraine grit, right? They're like, no, you're not taking over our country. So Vladimir Putin assumed that they were going to be able to
Assume
kind
they
of
want to
bulldoze
fall.
their way and just push them around and whatnot, and they didn't. There's been reports that they tried to bribe some government officials, and Zelensky, the Ukrainian leader, like just outmaneuvered him, right? And he was able to rally the cause and get rid of the people that were bribed, and yeah, they fought back. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, United States aid, right? I've been kind of keeping up a little bit with the war.
Been helping
They
them on the
have,
low.
yeah, they've given Ukraine a missile system called the HIMARS, like a high mobility missile system, and it is like giving Russia fits, right? Because what happens is that um, since Russia's encryption, like communications isn't encrypted in Ukraine, like United States, they can hack into the encryption. They can find out where their generals are, and they can use a HIMARS missile to like just strike their
Oh,
strike where
snap.
they're. Yeah, it's nuts. I think they've lost about 60 generals, like colonels and generals, in the war. 60.
That's a lot
60.
for leadership, man.
Yeah, leadership, right? So given all that, and given that the United States was is the reasoning for a big reason for all this happening, you're not getting a fair trade for Brittany Griner. You're really not. So
I'll
she
give
was
you that.
traded and released from prison for Victor Bout. He's considered the Merchant of Death, and they made a movie about him, a Nicolas Cage movie about him, like about 10 years
Lord
ago.
of War, right?
Lord of War. That's what it was. Yeah.
So thoughts on this? Thoughts on this being pretty much like Russia's Vietnam War, right?
Yeah.
You remember, for the U.S., we were supposed to go down there, and we had the technology, we had the manpower, but they gave us fits, and we had to change our tactics for one, but we essentially just fought them to a draw,
Yeah.
and then we pull out, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is pretty much the same thing. I don't see them winning personally. I think they're just gonna. I don't know how driven this guy is, but I can see them giving up here. That's 100,000 soldiers is a lot of people here.
They lost a lot of soldiers.
For this day and age, fighting is different now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
right. Well, they don't have. I mean, we can go into detail on like the Russian war and why it's gone so bad, but they don't have a lot of like smart weapons, right? Like I said, they're like the communications aren't encrypted, so it's easily hackable. They can find out who the leadership is, and they can send a message to where their leadership is, and annihilate them. So
yeah,
Russia actually just conscripted like 300,000 people and just sent them to war in Ukraine, and a lot of those people are are dying. Which is just unfortunate. All right, it's time to finish this off. So, sadly with some deaths in December. So Steven Switchboss passed away. He
Hold
was
on, hold on, bro. I gotta take a quick time out. Somebody's at the door. Hold on.
oh my god. Okay. And we will be back. Actually, let's go ahead. I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of finish this off while Nicholas is doing his thing. So Deion Sanders leaves ESU December. Kanye West praises Hitler in December as well. He did this on the Alex Jones podcast, and it was just a mess, as everything Kanye West is. Barbara Walters passes away. So she was 95, I believe. So she was a pioneer, like one of the first like women journalists, not ever, but like on like major like news and podcast or in major like news. She was actually paid $1 million like back in 1975 to do talk about Barbara Walters passing away. So she passed away
Yeah.
recently. Also, Pope Benedict passed away recently. I think like yesterday. He was, I think, the first pope to ever resign from the papacy. So he passed away at 95. And also Brazilian legend Pele passed away. Thank you for correcting me, Jake. One of the first female anchor women. And she got like paid like $1 million like in the 1970s, which is like a fuck ton of money. I mean, it's a lot of money
That's
now,
major. That's major.
but that was a lot of money then. So yeah, that's the year in review. Oh, yes, and she did also found the View, right?
Wow, I did
So
not
she
know
also
that.
created the View. Who's on it now? Whoopi Goldberg, Joe Boehner. Not Joe Boehner. I know. I just.
I'm about to Google it.
Yeah, we'll just Google it. The View.
Okay, Whoopi, Joy. I'm at
Joy.
Bahar. I'm messing that up. Sunny Hostin, Sarah Haynes, Alyssa Farah Griffin, Anna Navarro, Megan McCain, and Abby Huntsman.
Yeah, we're Googling the same thing. A lot of those guys aren't there anymore. Like I don't know.
Yeah, just did. Damn you, Google.
A lot of those guys, I know Megan McCain isn't on there anymore. I don't think Anna Navarro is on there anymore. Anna Navarro is pretty funny. She was a former Republican until like Trump got elected, and then she's like went independent. But
hold on, so Rotten Tomatoes has a 7% average audience score
of The View.
Okay. Shit. Oh man, well I guess hey Jake, maybe do you watch The View? You seem very knowledgeable on it. Let me know.
I read the same thing that he read, but like Jake's a knowledgeable guy. But okay, cool. So that was the year review. Nice little fun kickback for like all that has happened. But let's go ahead and hit like the next part. Like, what are the things I remember, our favorite movies? We can talk about DC.
Yes, sir.
I didn't add that in my review because we're going to be talking about that heavily.
Yeah. So let's talk about DC real quick. We'll do our best of. We have I have like 3 best of things for the end. Yeah, I mean, but we can do DC.
Just an FYI too, there was a video I may download it and just see what your thoughts are.
Oh boy.
On like DC. I didn't do it before because I was too busy preparing. But part of me kind of wants to just see like your thoughts on what this guy's saying. Yeah.
Are you about to show it?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, as you know, see, he is supposedly a DC person, but I'm a diehard DC fan. I have wanted my very own Marvel equivalent of the DC universe ever since the Avengers came out, pretty much, I'd say. They just haven't been able to do it. I thought we had something with Man of Steel. I really enjoyed Man of Steel quite a bit. I enjoyed Batman v Superman. I did not like. I really enjoyed. I also enjoyed Wonder Woman a lot. Then you had the missteps. You had Suicide Squad, Womp. You had the theatrical version of Justice League, Womp. You had Aquaman was good. Aquaman was good, right? But after that, it's just like they never seem to get anything right. And you had the studio constantly meddling and everything, et cetera, et cetera. So fast forward to now, and they've gone through this restructuring at DC. Ooh, we can get into that, Jake. I like Jake. Jake needs to come on the show. But you have this restructuring, right? And so Walter Hamada has been fired. I think there's a couple other people that got fired from DC Studios. Enter James Gunn and I forget the other cat, but they're co-CEOs now at DC, right? And a lot of questions from the fans because it's gotten so bad that it seemed like the fans, because of the success with Restore the Snyderverse, sort of with the new Justice League, right? With the new Justice League. I won't say they restored the Snyderverse, but they did get them to put out the Snyderverse. So the fans feel kind of emboldened now to question everything and to comment on everything. And so when James is talking about his plans for the future of the DC universe, there's some people that are happy, some people that are not so happy. As we know, we thought that with Black Adam, which wasn't that good of a movie either, but we thought that because they had Henry Cavill in there, and because he came out on Instagram saying, "Hey, I'm back as Superman," that maybe we were going to keep Henry Cavill, right? And I was happy with that. I liked Henry Cavill as Superman a lot, actually.
There wasn't a problem with the
no, not at all. I actually came to like Ben Affleck as Batman quite a bit too, but again, the material, right? So, but they're out now, right? That Henry Cavill's out. Affleck is more than likely out, even though I keep seeing little things about he's back. I doubt it. Mm-hmm. Right? So now you have supposedly they're going to come out with a young Superman movie, right? They're looking for a young Superman. And he put out these images on social media. The Alex Ross image from the story Kingdom Come. Not sure if you've read that. But, essentially in that story, you have like an older Superman and his generation of heroes. They've kind of retired or kind of stepped back a little bit. And this new generation of heroes has kind of come in and they're doing a little bit more than they expected. So Superman and them have to come back and fight them off. So he's put that image up there. And then he's also teased this Final Crisis storyline as well, which is kind of how DC's gone through several, if you follow the storyline, like they've gone through several of these crisis events where they kind of either blow everything up or reset things to kind of bring things back down to earth, right? So everybody's really curious about what James Gunn is going to do with these characters. Are they going to be able to fold in, the Batman from, Robert Pattinson's Batman? Mm-hmm. So it's a lot going on, man. I'm just hoping that supposedly there's a 10-year plan. That's what he said, right? I'm just hoping that they do something good this time. I don't know what to expect anymore. You know what I'm saying? These are the characters that I love. They just keep on messing it up. Right? I actually, it was funny. It's like, hey, I want to watch some good DC movies. You know what I did? I went and watched all the animated movies.
Exactly. So what's funny is that apparently, and they're taking away. So HBO Max are taking away like those a lot of the Justice League Unlimited and Batman the Animated Series.
Literally two of the greatest cartoons ever made.
Yes, two of the greatest cartoons ever, which they're taking them off their platform, and it's super frustrating. Yeah, apparently James Gunn is going to base his new stuff based off of those cartoons, though. Basically, Justice League Unlimited and Young Justice. Young Justice is okay. Justice League Unlimited is amazing. I wanted to play this for you, Nicholas, just to get your reaction. I just want to. Jake, hopefully, and anyone else out there, hope you guys are watching. You may not be as big DC fans as I am, but I just want to hear this just from Jake. This is just for Nicholas.
We're talking about the rise and fall of one of the worst fandoms, Zack Snyder's DCEU, otherwise known as Snyder Bros. It all starts with Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy. These movies were financial and critical successes, so much so they were beating Marvel. And DC wanted to springboard this into their own DC universe. But no one who was part of that Dark Knight trilogy wanted to stay. DC decides that they're going to start with Superman and have the same tone and element as The Dark Knight, thinking that's why people love those movies. So they hired Zack Snyder, whose last 3 movies were bombs and lost the studio's money. Yeah, that's a good pick. Along with David Goyer and Christopher Nolan, Zack Snyder helped write the movie, and it did okay. Then Christopher Nolan left, and Zack Snyder was left to write Batman vs. Superman pretty much by himself. He took inspiration from not 1, not 2, but 3 different comic books. And Batman vs. Superman did poor financially and critically. Guardians of the Galaxy made more money than it. Zack Snyder was already in the middle of making Justice League. So Zack and the studio parted ways in the middle of filming this movie. And then they replaced him with Joss Whedon, who talked mad shit about how bad this movie was while he was filming it. Of course, this movie was doomed to flop, made even less money than Batman vs. Superman. The Snyder Bros then complained about releasing the Snyder Cut, which wasn't a thing. And DC was so upset over hashtag release the Snyder Cut, they said, look, let him finish this movie so they can shut these nerds up. And it worked! DC decides they need to do a full reboot, and they hire James Gunn to lead it. Produced Brightburn, and has a history of releasing a lot of good superhero movies. Even got the Justice League to cameo in his TV show.
Oh my god.
I agree with a lot of what this guy says. You Snyder bro, guys.
That was funny. That was funny.
The problem.
That was funny.
You can see in the back there. I think is that your Justice League? Where's your Justice League poster back there, Nicholas?
Oh, this one back here is from the comics, man. So it's not the movie one. It's just like all the DC
Justice
movies.
League stuff too. Oh yes, we didn't miss this one. Kevin Conroy. We did an episode about this too.
Yes, we did.
So he passed away. He was the voice of Batman for a long time, and he actually just came out the closet this year.
Not too long ago. Yeah,
not too long ago. Was it this year or last year? I'm not sure, but yeah, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I don't know why losing Guardians of the Galaxy so not. I just played the video to make fun of Nicholas.
So this is the thing, though. He talks about how like they didn't make any money, but all those movies made like the theatrical version of Justice League, which was terrible, still made like $700 million.
Making
It made a lot.
$700 though doesn't mean you're breaking even, though, right? So, for example, Avatar came out recently, and they've made $1 billion. But until they
the man said he had to make $1 billion.
They're losing money. So they have to make $2 billion to make money for that movie, The Way of Water. Same thing with these movies as well, right? You can make $700 million, but if it costs you $700 million to make, you're not making any money.
But
right?
Okay, but so I'm looking at it right now because I felt that I needed to do this for you. Okay. Box Office Mojo. According to them, the budget for Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice was $250 million. It's pretty expensive, isn't it?
Okay.
Worldwide, the movie grossed $873 million. How's that financial failure?
That does not include marketing.
So
that doesn't include marketing.
I hear you, but you're not going to tell me that, like, you know what I mean? So it depends on how you look at the numbers.
Yeah, you're looking at half the numbers.
I am. To me, that's not a failure, right? I don't know what you're right. I don't know what the marketing, how much they paid for marketing, but let's say they paid another $200 million for marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, so you got a $500 million return on the movie? I don't know.
A lot more
I don't know.
This, Um,
So,
yeah, I don't think it was considered a box office flop per se.
but that's what your boy
because
just said. I'm just going off what your boy said, right?
okay, fair enough.
I'm
Fair
going off
enough.
what your boy said. Critical
Yeah.
failure, hey, I'll give you that all day. Yes, the critics hated it, right? But the box office failure, no. Okay.
I think if you just look up Batman v Superman flop, you'll see a lot of people say that it flopped.
Sure.
Just saying. Or did Batman v Superman lose money? Deducing that the total cost from revenue, we find that the film ultimately earned $100 million. So it did earn $100 million from Warner Brothers, right?
Yeah.
So it did gain some money in total, but not nearly as much as it could or should have, right?
Yeah. Now, Justice League, which deserved, this grossed worldwide $657 million. Right. So that's a $200 million loss. less than Batman v Superman, right?
Yeah.
So,
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I just love seeing you like defend Justice League.
I'm not going to defend Justice
You just
League.
went straight to Johnny Cochran mode. It's like, hey,
No, your man said it was a box office. They were box office flops. They weren't. But let's go to the comments. So why is losing to Guardians of the Galaxy a knock? It certainly is not, right? But I think the thing is that the fact that DC's tentpole characters, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, these are the best of the best Justice League. They lost to a group of characters who nobody gave two shits about before that movie.
That's true.
Right. So that's the knock on it. That's why Warner Brothers, they're like up in arms probably and trying to figure out like what the hell they did wrong. You know what I mean? Because why are we losing to Guardians of the Galaxy? You know what I'm saying? But at that point, Marvel was the box office juggernaut, man. Everything they touched was gold. You know what I'm saying?
Who's that?
Yeah, some trolling asshole down here in the comments. But we pay attention to the real commenters. But that's the point. I mean, the DC movies have not done well at all, and this shakeup, people are hoping, but at the end of the day, we still have another year of movies that don't mean anything from Warner Brothers. You got the Flash movie coming out. You have I think Blue Beetle's coming out. I was actually looking forward to Blue Beetle.
I hope Blue Beetle is good, but like I said, right after the first Suicide Squad, I just stopped losing hope for Marvel.
Like, yeah.
Like right after that, like Batman v Superman was a huge letdown, but like after Suicide Squad, I was like, you know what, I don't care. You're not gonna get me all riled up and excited over these movies anymore. And some of them have been good. Like Shazam's been good. The Batman's been pretty good.
But there are always these. This is what pisses me off about them. They have these, and they call them Elseworlds style things. But like, either you're gonna build the universe or you're not, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, why are we having like all this other stuff?
Well,
right.
It's just I feel like there's a lot of people's egos at play. Like, so for example, I was reading recently about like Warner Brothers Studios and why they got rid of Clint Eastwood recently. And one of the reasons why like the new CEO stopped didn't have Clint Eastwood in like the movies anymore or making movies anymore was because apparently before, like, he'll come to them with a movie and they'll do their analysis and they'll say like, well, this movie's gonna make money, we're gonna lose money, but they like Clint Eastwood and like his movies come in on time and under budget, so they're just gonna give him a movie anyway, right? And it's like, unless you have some sort of loyalty, I mean, I can go into like privilege and all this shit, but like, what the hell? Like, you pretty much letting this guy make movies knowing you're gonna lose money, but because you like him, it's fine. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It just seems like there's a bunch of ego involved. They got rid of Henry Cavill because of ego. They just didn't like Henry Cavill anymore.
Dude, he was like the best thing about their movies.
He was fine. Look, you know me. I have no problem shitting on freaking Zack Snyder's freaking universe and stuff. But Ben Affleck was fine. Henry Cavill was fine. And I can shit on Zack Snyder all he wants. If you hire the guy to do a job, let him do his job. Don't interfere.
That's literally all they needed to do, man.
Like, I still think the movies weren't going to be that great but they would have been better than what they were. You definitely didn't make them any better.
The other thing I think they lost out on too, man, and I can understand why they're hesitant about it because their first movie was so terrible. Green Lantern.
Oh yeah.
So
I think they're gonna have it still.
I'm not even going to talk about like the movie but they were going to do a TV show, right? And they were going to make it centered around like that whole universe. Green Lantern is literally could literally have been like DC's Star Wars, Warner Brothers Star Wars, right?
Or DC's Guardians of the Galaxy, almost. That's what they are actually.
You could do the buddy cop thing. You could make it a space opera.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much potential out there. You have this whole like spectrum of rings and based on emotion. You can do so many stories about emotion and all of that stuff. And they're just letting it just sit there, collect dust. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like no matter what decision these people make, it's always wrong. And they always somehow figure out a way to interfere to the point where the people either don't want to work with them anymore or they screw it up. Right?
Yeah. It reminds me of like an earlier project that was on like on my team. It's just a lot of egos. A lot of egos. Like Ego had it with like not wanting Henry Cavill back, right? Essentially, right? And then The Rock fought for that and was like, no, he's gonna have The Rock use his ego to influence getting Henry Cavill back. Of course, he uses his ego to fucking tank Black Adam too, right? Again, that's part of his ego as well. That's part of the reason why the movie didn't do as well, right? Because it just wasn't that good and it didn't like reach the box office. And now he's not having a number 2, another movie. So yeah, they have a lot of shit that they need to get through. That might be its own episode.
I said I'm gonna keep on giving Marvel my money because at least they're making good content. And as far as DC is concerned, I'll pick up the latest issues.
Yeah, I would.
Dark Crisis. The Dark Crisis storyline concluded not too long ago. Huh?
Yeah, Marvel Phase 4 though hasn't been that great. Like in terms of movies, I think the best ones, Spider-Man last year, right? Far From Home, and Black Panther this year, and then all the other ones are kind of are mid. Like Doctor Strange, which I love. Doctor Strange's first one. The second one was okay. Thor, they made the whole movie a joke and a Guns N' Roses album, essentially, right? It wasn't bad. I didn't think both those movies were bad. I think that both movies are just mid. Like they just weren't that great. And yeah, I'm not upset with that, but I did go to the theaters and watch them, and even though they're mid, they're still better than what DC put out, which is just sad.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
Best thing DC did this year was The Sandman. That show was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
show.
Batman 2 is this year as well.
Yes. So that's a great segue into our getting closer to wrapping up this episode, but also doing the best stuff for 2022.
Yes.
What is the best superhero movie released this year? I'll give you the top, the main 8. And when we're talking about superhero movies, I'm talking about based on comic comic properties. So I'm not really counting The Samaritan. And somebody can tell me if that's based on a comic book or not. I don't think it is. It wasn't that bad, but
I haven't watched it. So.
All right, so you have Morbius.
Didn't watch it.
Thor: Love and Thunder. Black Adam. Doctor Strange. Werewolf by Night.
That's not a show. I mean, that's a show, not a movie.
You're right. Well, this Google return kind of sucked then, didn't it?
It's what happens when you Google at the episode, during the episode.
DC League of Super Pets.
Oh, okay. Didn't watch that. Heard
that was actually pretty good. Pretty good. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And, of course, The Batman. So out of those, what is your top superhero movie of the year?
This might be some recency bias, too. And I haven't really been to the movies as much this year, but Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. That it was cool to see them bring some Latin American heritage into that movie. Um, a lot of um, a lot of Mesoamerican culture. Buddy Jake here. Thank you for commenting so much. Werewolf by Night. He's actually trying to get me on that, and I actually
I've been trying to get on it too. I just haven't
yeah,
had time
I
yet.
need to get on that one because I heard really good things about it, and I probably should have been getting on it since I've been a little bit more free last couple of weeks. But whatever. I'll try to get on it like maybe next week or so. We'll see. The Batman was a pretty good movie. Um, I was a little concerned because a lot of people were making fun of Robert Pattinson's Batman. People didn't want like a Batman who sparkled, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
No, I thought
people,
it was pretty good. I thought it was long, though. I didn't think it needed to be that long. But I will give it credit in the sense that it didn't feel that long. There are definitely some scenes that I felt that could have been cut out.
So what are you putting as your number one? I haven't heard the answer yet.
My number one, I said Black Panther. Wakanda Forever is number one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's number one. The Batman's number two to the superhero movies. Number three, in terms of superheroes, this might be the only two that I watched. so embarrassing enough. And fuck it, I'll put like a show on there. I'll say I like Miss Marvel. It's pretty good. Yeah, no, I agree. Robert Pattinson was a fantastic Bruce Wayne. Had a little goth in him.
I would have to disagree actually.
You thought it was? You didn't think it was fantastic? I thought it was pretty good.
I think the Batman is my favorite comic book adaptation for the year, but I don't think the Bruce Wayne in that movie. This movie was more about Batman as a character. I don't think he really got to show a real arc for Bruce Wayne. So I can't really say that he was a fantastic Bruce Wayne because his Bruce Wayne didn't really have much to do.
Yeah.
So I think as an actor, I think Ben Affleck was able to do a really good job changing between the two characters a lot. You saw some of the playboy, you saw some of the brooding guy, and then he did a really good. I thought he did a good job as Batman.
Yeah, you didn't really see him activate as much as Bruce Wayne,
right?
In that movie, that's a good point. Hopefully, the next one will be really good. I hope it's not 3 hours long.
I'm really looking forward to the next iteration of the Batman. It's unfortunate that this is what I don't want because again, for anybody who watches, Batman is my favorite character. Okay, if you haven't figured it out yet, Batman is my favorite character. Okay, there cannot be too much Batman in my opinion, but my fear is that you have Matt Reeves off building his very own Batman universe. You know, you're gonna have the Penguin TV show. I think you're gonna have some other stuff. You're gonna have the other Batman movies, right? Then they're gonna try to rebuild the DC universe, right? And I feel like they're gonna try to either omit Batman or keep him out of the story, or do something where he's like old and can't do shit. They always do something like this with Batman. They don't give you the prime, I can stand with anybody Batman. It's always got to be some little hiccup somewhere. You know what I mean? Just like, so.
What's wrong with that though?
No.
Christopher Nolan's Batman.
Again, he was off on his own thing though. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Off on his own thing.
So you just want like an OP Batman. You just like OP characters like.
No, he doesn't have to be OP. He just needs to like be able to interact with the other people in the DC universe. I watched all the Arrowverse shows, right? They were most of them were pretty good. But again, they found a reason to not have Batman anywhere. Right?
Yeah, I feel like when you have Batman though, he needs to be like the guy, right? And if it's not like, then what is he doing there, right? Like in the Suicide Squad show, like
he can be Batman. A mentor. He's a great mentor. Look at him on Titans.
Yeah, he can be, but it's also Batman. You know, like in the Suicide Squad movie, the 2016 movie, like they had him there for like a second, and it was kind of like even in the good, like the really good, like cartoon, like the Batman Assault on Arkham, like where it was more of a Suicide Squad show than a Batman.
Facts, Jake.
That one was still there, and he was Batman, right?
Yeah, but he didn't have to be
So-
the focus either. That was an awesome take on the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. That was an awesome
Right.
take.
But that's what I'm saying. You can find a way to have him. He doesn't have to be OP, but like my fear is just that they're going to be like, oh, you have the Batman universe over here, so somehow Batman won't be in this iteration of Justice League or some other BS. Like it's just like if he's there, man. He's part of the universe. And I do think Batfleck was the best.
Man. It feels like when you have Joker there, he needs to be there. Like that's another problem with like what they did with like the
Foley.
Suicide Squad.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they kind of had Joker as a cameo, and it's just wasted. I thought could have been a great performance by Jared Leto, but
Evidently, there was a great performance by Jared Leto. They just cut it.
yeah, you didn't get to see his performance because he was barely there. Because of reasons.
They cut it.
Yeah, because of reasons, right?
Good old Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
I want
Warner
to make
Brothers-
something like Guardians of the Galaxy. Cut that out.
That's what I'm a little bit worried about James Gunn stuff, right? Where as much as I like James Gunn, I liked Peacemaker. If you haven't watched Peacemaker,
Great show.
Peacemaker. It's a great show. There are some jokes that just lasted a lot longer than it should have. Like there's the part where John Cena's character and Vigilante are going back and forth. It's like, I'm not turning around. You're gonna make me look at your penis. I don't have my penis out. You're gonna make me look at your penis. I'm like, okay. That lasted like maybe 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
This is my fear.
Like maybe 30 seconds. Like
This is
don't
my
do,
fear.
Like a whole series on that.
You know what happened with Thor, right? Taika Waititi comes in, Ragnarok, awesome movie, right?
Yeah.
Then
And
he
doubles
makes the
down
next
on
one,
it.
right? So they come in with James Gunn. He does the Suicide Squad, pretty good. Not sure how rats can beat like a giant alien starfish, but whatever. Right. I'm just hoping that he doesn't play his too many of his cards. He doesn't
Yeah.
he doesn't overexpose himself, right?
Don't double down like Taika Waititi did with
So
with Thor: Love and Thunder, which again I didn't think was a bad movie. Maybe because I love Tessa Thompson and I thought Jane was. It was good to see Jane back. Natalie Portman back as Jane, so it was
Yeah.
good to see her too. But yeah, no, he literally doubled down on a lot from what he did in Thor Ragnarok, and there was almost no growth from Thor, almost no growth.
I got super annoyed in the theater watching that movie,
Yeah.
man.
I didn't think it was that bad. I honestly didn't think so because I did enjoy the Guns N' Roses.
That movie was trash. Trash.
I didn't think it was
Trash.
that bad.
It was not good.
Um,
Not good
It
at
was
all.
good. It was good seeing everyone there. But even Chris Hemsworth was like, "Look, there's got to be some major changes to Thor if
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back
Yeah.
and play him again.
Yeah.
Like he's got to grow a little bit." And I kind of agree with him on that one. But,
Absolutely. All right.
Okay.
Last thing I wanted to go over was we don't talk about it too much, but we do every once in a while. We get into the music side of things.
Mm.
What was your favorite? Yeah, I was gonna say favorite hip hop album released this year, but I'll just say because what was your favorite album released this year? Do you have a favorite record
I
from
have
this year?
not- I don't.
Something that you had on repeat.
You. Why did you freaking give this to me now? I should have thought about it earlier. I can't. My music
help you out.
taste.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your
help me
music
out.
tastes are like all over the place, right?
Yeah, they are.
So I'll give you a few here. There's
One comment from Jake. It's what T's worst movie.
by far. Yeah, so me and Jake are going to agree on a lot. We need to get him on the show. But for me this year, it was tough, man, because you had Nas with King's Disease 3.
Mm.
You had Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale, and the Big Steppers. You had Pusha T, It's Almost Dry.
Mhm.
Those three, for me, are probably the top albums for the year. And if I had to pick one out of all three, it'd probably be King's Disease. Probably be King's
Oh,
Disease 3.
nice. Okay.
Really enjoyed that one. But I mean, you had guys. You had an album from Black Thought. If you don't know who Black Thought is, he's the head MC
course.
for The Roots, one of the greatest groups of all time.
Yep.
And he's probably in my top 5 MCs ever. You also have God Did from DJ Khaled, which was okay. It was all right. You also had, this is a guy that I kind of got on late, but Freddie Gibbs had an album this year called Soul Sold Separately. I'm really getting into some of his stuff too. So definitely a lot of good music this year, man. And also, honorable mention, it's not even a hip hop album, but my girl SZA just released an album as well. Love her music. Big fan of SZA.
Another honorable mention. I don't want to I'm not gonna list a favorite because my music has not been up to par the last recent couple of years. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I'm no longer a hip hop head. I will say Beyonce also released an album too, Renaissance. So that was a huge.
Oh, you done on the TikTok?
Can you do that again for me, please?
Nope. I'm not gonna let you. I'm not gonna let you have me do that again.
What was the dance again?
I don't know. You have to watch TikTok to check it out, man. Keep on top of your stuff.
Oh my god, the memes for her dance was just fucking hilarious because it showed just so many people trying to dance to it.
Oh yeah,
and there were some people of a certain color. I won't name what those people are. They didn't dance well to it at all.
Well, I mean, you know how that is. Also, I forgot to mention too, these guys. This is one of, well, unfortunately, only released one album back in the 90s. Black Star. They came out with an album this year too.
Oh, okay.
Called No Fear of Time. I never got a chance to listen to it, but I got to go back and listen to that too, man. Mos Def and Talib Kweli make some good stuff. Timeless music. Music. So yeah.
I didn't know they had a group called Black Star. Okay, cool.
Yep. Yeah, man. And I know people are probably like, well, what about Drake? I don't mess with Drake, man. All right,
21. Can you do something?
He did. Yeah, him and 21 Savage came out with something. I listened to it. Is it better than Drake's usual? Yes. Why? Because Drake had help. Right, he needs help for me to listen to an album of his. But it was pretty good. It's just after a while, I got a little bored with it. It was okay. Yeah, I mean,
did you see the memes?
I think if they shortened the album a little bit, it would have been better. Sorry.
Did you see the memes where it showed him and 21 Savage coming out to the WWD stage, and Drake was coming out strutting, twisting his hips and snapping his fingers and stuff like that. It's so funny. If I known you would have brought that up, I would have played the video. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really mess with Drake like that. You can talk to my brother about that type of stuff.
All right. Okay. Anything else? Gonna wrap this up.
No, I'm about to go. Damn it. My wife went to the store. I should have told her to buy me a bottle of something. But anyway, I'm gonna find something to drink and bring in the new year. Bringing the new year right, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So no, it's been a good year. There's been a lot of growth. We've done a lot of experimenting on this channel, on this podcast, and whatnot. I think we brought in Restream, new format here with the more mobile format.
Yes. Yeah, and you know what, man? Yeah, shout out. Look, I mess with Sahid a lot on this show. Okay, especially the way he says the capital of that city in Wakanda Forever. But I will give you some props, man. You've done a very good job helping the channel grow. It's you kind of went back into your bag and found a strategy. Maybe you called somebody younger, cooler, figured something out. But the channel, I don't know if you follow us on Instagram, our followers have skyrocketed. Not to the point where 5,000-6,000 followers, but we were stagnant for a long time, and then all of a sudden it was like boom, like plus 50 or something like that. So
Yeah, we
shout
grew.
out to you, man. And for anybody who's watching, check us out again at the Targeted Podcast on IG, Twitter, all that good stuff. We got a lot of good content out there now, actually. So
Yeah,
follow us, give us a chance.
yeah. Follow us, please. Going a little bit of hiatus in the new year just to kind of refocus and kind of
Continue to
strategize. So we're
strategize.
going to be bringing we're just going to be doing more, right?
Yep.
Like right now, this format that we have was kind of more like mobile. I want us to put this on Instagram and TikTok now.
Yeah. Some clips.
Yeah. So, but we can actually like go like I tried going live on Instagram before in our other format and it just showed our elbows. But I think this format, yeah. Well, not our elbows. It shows our shoulders. It was just like this. We're like just two shoulders on the side. But now with kind of the way this thing is organized, we can now go on Instagram and TikTok, and people can like watch on their phones now. I gotta show Nicholas how to promote things on the Instagram phone because apparently he just freaking we're live and doesn't put a link to anyone.
Link in the bio.
If you're trying to bring people to your show, don't tell them like if you want to go to our profile. Like just put more work. Like no. Right.
Nah, yeah, I gotta get better about that.
Yeah.
But some other stuff that we had too, man. We've met. Because we socialized ourselves a little bit. We've met some hosts from some other podcasts. So definitely look out for some guest appearances on the show as well. So yeah, man, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's good work. It's good work. So yeah, more to come in 2023. Thank you guys for all the support. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like we're on Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. We're there. It's there. So just go out and give us a follow and a listen. Also looking forward to discussion topics as well. So I might have to set up something like that to like talk about.
Yeah, we gotta do it in person. We gotta do an in-person one too, man.
We should do an in-person one. We have to figure that out.
You can come over here to the Eagles Nest, baby. We're here.
Right. So we got to figure out like how the lighting goes. Should I bring my whole desktop, which uses?
No.
Well, this is how the remember like when we were doing the podcast, like that was always glitching and stuff, right? And that's because I rebuilt a desktop.
True.
And now everything works fine. So, yeah. No, there's been a lot of growth in this podcast this year, and I'm happy. I'm proud of like the work that we've accomplished. So, yeah, good stuff. Okay, so that being said, thank you guys so much. Have a very happy and safe New Year.
Yes, please stay safe. Get an Uber, okay? Don't drive drunk.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're out partying, make sure you party unless you're like in DC, like you're Nicholas and you're out in like the sticks somewhere in the countryside. You don't have to worry.
We party out here too. Less cops.
I did party out there. I remember driving 2 hours out there. Don't say we're not friends.
The way you drive, it probably did take 2 hours. Anyway, I'm out. Cool. I gotta go eat because I have not eaten. I got a crab cake sandwich waiting for me.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. See you guys next year.
All right.
Bye.